All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Turner, and this is another episode of the Summit Podcast. We've got a guy on today that we've had on before. His name's Gary Chupik from Elite Mindset. But I brought Gary back to talk about what he's going to deliver at the Edge Live event on February 22nd of 2025. This year two of our Edge event. And we're taking it up a notch and getting some guys to come in and speak that have spoken internationally. And so this is going to be fun. Gary's taking a few minutes today to just chat with us about the event. We've had questions about, hey, is this for me? Do I have to be a contractor to come? Do I have to own my own business? Who's Gary? Who's Steve? So we brought Steve on last week. We've got Gary this week. And Gary, I just want to welcome you back to the Summit Podcast and thank you for being willing to take a few minutes and just talk about the event and why it might be a good fit for somebody.
Well, it's certainly a pleasure to be back on. So thank you. It's always the greatest compliment to be invited back to something, right? Like if you're a business owner and you get repeat business from someone, that's kudos to you. So that means you've done a good job. Well, I think the event is it's really on my radar because I love to pour myself and my experiences into leaders. And so, as you mentioned previously, it's not just about people that are involved in construction. I think what I bring to the table is I love to sharpen leaders. And most business people, whether it's a contractor or you sit in an office and or you work with clients, whatever it is, you're a leader. And this conference is for leaders. And I think it's so important because whether you're leading just one other person or you're leading a team or a group or a company, or even if you're just leading yourself, I mean, to be able to sharpen your tool, sharpen your knife is actually really pretty crucial. And I think the opportunity that people have to be part of this and rub shoulders with other people, I think is outstanding. And I have this saying, I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but iron sharpens iron, but only at the right angle.
I like
And I think the approach that we are taking to leadership at this conference will sharpen people because I think it's going to be at the right angle on a couple different levels. It'll be at the right angle from the platform because I think you have some really great people on the platform. And number two, it's an opportunity for us to learn from each other and have that peer-to-peer learning. And especially if you find someone who is maybe just one step further down the road than you are, or is doing something slightly different than you are. And this is about putting tools in the tool bag. And I think, I mean, that's not just an example or illustration from construction. I use that example all the time because one of the things that I learned about, and you're going to think this is crazy, but I learned that there are 12 different kinds of hammers, and I had no idea. I could name probably 4 or 5 different kinds of hammers. I didn't know there were 12.
I didn't
And so
even.
I spoke at this conference in Nashville last week, and I had all these hammers on stage. I could only find 7 at Home Depot, but and yes, I did take them back. But I had all these hammers, and it was really interesting. I said, you are your own unique person, and you're your own unique tool, and you got to figure out who you are. And you got to figure out, like, if you have a general idea of what kind of a leader you are, you can say, oh, well, I'm a hammer. Yeah, but what kind of a hammer? Are you a framing hammer? Are you a finish hammer? Are you a sledgehammer? Are you a rubber mallet? Like, what kind of hammer are you? So I think there's a lot of value in just sharpening your leadership for your own life and then for the lives of those that you lead, including your family.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to have you in the room because I think that it's going to be a great contrast because we're all different, right? And Steve is over here going, "Hey, listen, I can be honest or I can be nice, but I can't be both." And I mean, he's going to hit you right between the eyes. And you're over here more maybe on the softer side, but you come from the mindset side too, and I like that. And I hope to be somewhere in between you two guys, literally and figuratively. Tell us about the mindset stuff. In particular, touch on what you call game plan for life.
Yeah, well, when it comes to mindset, it's really interesting. And maybe I'll touch a little bit on this during our event. But what it takes to be an elite athlete is actually pretty similar to what it takes to be a really good in business. So if you think about it, there's emotional regulation, crucial for an athlete, but also pretty important in business. What about self-talk? Who talks to you more than anybody? You do. And so your self-talk as a business owner and business leader is probably pretty crucial. Or your resilience as a business owner. Like sometimes you just got to pick yourself up off the floor. Maybe you didn't get the bid, or maybe something went wrong on a call, or maybe one of your employees did something really stupid. I mean, you have to figure you out. And your mindset in all those things could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. What does a bad employee cost a business?
Yeah.
It's really unconscionable how much a bad employee costs. And so I think us being in the right frame of mind and the right mindset is really crucial. And I don't like to talk about mindset in sort of a universalist, ethereal, rub crystals together kind of way. If I'm working with a professional athlete or a professional team, I can't afford just to rub crystals together. I have to make a difference by Sunday. And so what I'm hoping is that the tools that we give everyone at this event, I think they'll be able to use it within the next 24 hours, and they'll be able to use it a year from now. And I think that is the sign of a really great workshop or conference is, can you use it immediately out of the gate, and can you remember it a year from now? Because if you defy the principles, then you're going to be sorry that you did. So we're going to be teaching principles that you're going to say, oh, well, that's obvious. Yeah, but you might not be putting it into practice. And then when you go against those, let's say, laws of gravity, for example, you go against the laws of gravity when it comes to, or laws of physics when it comes to mindset, you're going to be really sorry that you did. So the stuff that we're going to be teaching is very foundational, applicable not only to athletes, but also high performers in business.
Love it. Love it. Question that comes to mind. And last year when I did the event, we did it on a Friday, right? So from some people I heard, shoot, I love to come, but I've got to work, right? So we flushed those people out this year by doing it on a Saturday, right? So I got you guys, right? But what would you say to somebody that's on the fence, right? That maybe, hey, maybe they're a one-man band painter, or maybe they've just started their business and they're like, I'm not at that level yet. What would you say to someone that's having a little bit of head trash or limiting belief around just simply attending the event?
Yeah, well, the very first thing that comes to mind is something that I've experienced personally. So I don't know about you, but starting a business is like walking uphill, or walking up the stairs against the wind in the snow. I
Right.
mean, it is tough slugging. And one of the things I've come to realize over the last couple of years is that relationships are the elevators. If
I
you want to
love
go up the elevator in whatever field that you're in, it is truly about relationships. I remember listening to Bill Belichick, and I don't know how well loved or not he is in the Northeast. But I remember listening to Bill Belichick, former coach of the New England Patriots. By the way, I did figure out his email, and that was the janitor at thepatriots.com.
it.
But I remember him saying one time, "Listen, none of us in the room are really that great. It's just that together we're really good." I think in the same way, when you come to an event like this, if you're sitting on the fence, you have no idea what kind of relationships that you may forge that will literally change the direction of your life. And I can tell you firsthand, it's in fact that so many countless times a relationship has changed my life that there's too much to mention. But I can name them. I can name $100,000 client in business that I met sort of by accident at
Yeah.
an event, and he paid me $100,000 to coach him. Like, and I'm not saying that to brag because I don't know if I'm worth that much. Like, I'm not really sure about that. However, right, if you talk to him, he said, Gary, I've made $1.2 million off of you. So your $100,000 was a great deal for me. And it convinced me that my coaching really was valuable. So relationships are the elevator, and you never know who you're going to meet and what kind of an impact they're going to have.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I love that. Relationships are the elevator. Oftentimes I've been to a bunch of events, and it took me a couple to realize, because the first one I went to, I went to the workshop, then I went back up to the hotel room and hung out. And I didn't meet anybody. I didn't hang around. I didn't know that in the lobby is kind of where the money's made, or where the connections are made, or where the elevator is, right? Would you agree? I mean, some of the best connections you make are really kind of before and after the event itself.
Yeah, in fact, they're during most of the breaks and the lunch and the before and after. Yeah, because that's when you get to sort of rub shoulders with people and get to know people. And I can't tell you how many relationships I formed during those times, as opposed to the relationships that I formed while listening to a speaker. So it really, those moments where you get to rub shoulders with people, those moments are pure gold, and they're worth every penny to be at. So, I mean, your conference is really it's really, really reasonably priced, and I think you just have so little to lose and so much to gain that the ROI is really no question.
Right. I've been telling people you can't afford not to be there.
There you go. Yeah, in fact, I just had a face to face with my local fire department yesterday, and we were talking about mental health and mental performance and the difference between mental health and mental performance. And by the way, I just remembered this. 2 days ago, I read an article in the Seattle Times. I'm happy to share it with anyone who asks. The Construction Workers of America came out with an article in the Seattle Times saying that suicide rates were 5 times higher amongst construction workers than the average population.
I believe it.
5 times. And yeah, that's construction, but I almost wonder for business owners if it's not that different. And so you do have mental health, but I think mental health is only part A. I think part B is being in the mind gym, the mental performance. And so I think of it like being in a facility, like a football facility. I remember being in a professional football franchise, and I'm not going to say who it was, but professional football franchise, and the coach is walking me around the facility, walked through, gave me the walkthrough and introduced me to all sorts of players and staff and whatever. And we walked through by the training room, and guys are in ice baths and guys are getting bandaged up and whatever. Then we walked over a few more feet to the gym. And I said, Coach, this describes exactly what mental performance is. You have the training facility or the training room, which is bandaging people up, but you also have the mind gym. You have the gym where people get stronger. And that's exactly what mental performance is. If you can get in shape mentally and manage your emotions and practice really great self-talk, and by the way, we have tools for all these things that I'm going to be sharing, then you're gonna avoid the training. So
Right.
you're going to be less likely to break a bone or pull a muscle or that kind of thing. So our goal with this conference is to help people get stronger. And I don't know if there would be anyone out there that would disagree that mindset is everything.
Yeah. 100%. Game plan for life. Tell me what that is.
Yeah, the game plan for life is a 2-day experience that I provide for my employees. Or my clients, pardon me. So either they fly to Seattle or they fly me to where they are and they spend 2 days and we come up with a game plan for life for them. So if I could say it this way, I think it would accurately describe what the game plan for life is. It is an identity based performance sort of tool is the best way to describe it, or experience. So you get a lot of stuff out there that that claims to have answers, or maybe it's a little bit of a roadmap or a blueprint, but very few of them, if any of them, are identity based. And so you're wired different than I am. I'm
Sure.
wired differently than Steve is, and we're all different. Everyone's different. So what if we created a plan for your life that was based on how you're wired? And what would that look like? What would your next steps look like? A lot of people take the game plan for life because they're either about to go in a transition or thinking about a transition or actually coming out of a transition. And it kind of hits the reset button in their life. So the game plan for life is radically life transforming. I have never, ever performed a game plan for life where it wasn't radically changing for people. So it's a pretty powerful tool, and it gets people aligned with how they're wired. And instead of letting your ambition drive you with what you want to do with your life, what if you just aligned and surrendered yourself to the way that you're wired? And how easy would things become? So we think, well, doing the hard thing is the best thing. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes we just need to do the thing that comes naturally to us. And that's actually the answer.
That's great. I've been wanting to talk to you about that. And I've had people ask me, Dave, who's Gary? What's he going to say? What's he going to bring to the table? So I appreciate you taking a few minutes today to outline that. I couldn't be more psyched to have you come into Maine. Guys, Gary, he's coming all the way across the country to spend the day with us. And I think that's just a testament to the relationship that Gary and I have formed over the last year. And we're both in the same business. We're both in the business of helping people and coaching. And we're both rising tide lifts all boats guys. And
That's right.
those are the people that I want. And Steve is as well. And Steve texted me earlier today, hey, how are ticket sales going? He's plugged into it and, really excited to be able to build this, to have a great event. And to bring something like this, for me, is to bring something like this to Maine. It was during COVID or just coming out of COVID where I was like, man, somebody has to step up and bring some people together. And that was last year when we did our initial event. And I don't know, we had 50 or 60 people there, but they all came away with a hair on fire, so to speak, and just felt like they got a lot out of it. They got that nugget that they were looking for. And to your point, they've got some things that a year later, I hope they're still utilizing. So they say that, what's the saying? find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. And I
Mm.
really feel like both you, all three of us, do that. And I think it's going to be fun. I'm honored to share the stage with you two guys, and even more honored to have you to take the trip and come to the great state of Maine, my home state, and be able to help me bring something to the Portland, Maine area that currently isn't to be found.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and I'm a Saskatchewan boy from central Canada, like, and there's so many miles between towns, so many miles between cities, and all you have is digital, really.
Right.
And so to be able to bring quality events to less populated areas, I think is really, really important. I don't think that should ever be minimized. I guess I want to share one story with you about how important this event is to me. So I had the opportunity to work with the president of the Houston Texans of the NFL. And we knew each other, and he had hired me to do a game plan for life. So I was flying to Houston to spend some time with him. And 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, before the event and experience and 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. Well, I hadn't heard from him since 3 days before we were supposed to get together. 2 days before, I hadn't heard from him. One day, I still hadn't heard from him. Like, I'm flying to Houston tomorrow, and I haven't heard from this guy. And so I called the front office, talked to his executive assistant. I found out that he had taken his own life. And at that point, I thought, I am never going to soft sell what I do. I am a game changer. And who knows, in the providence of life and providence and, the sovereignty of God or whoever, whatever people believe, could I have stopped that? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could have. But I tell you, the game plan for life changes people. And so I thought to myself, I am never again going to soft sell. And I'm never going to again believe that people are okay. And that I think people need to sharpen their mind and sort of source their soul with good things at an event like this. And I'm not here to soft sell it. I think it's really important.
Good. Yeah, that's a great share. I appreciate that. As we wrap up here, what do you want people to know? I mean, you're coming across the country, going to the event. I'm looking forward to it. We're all looking forward to having you. What would you say to somebody that as we wrap things up here tonight?
Well, you can't make a stuffed dog eat more food. And I think if you come hungry that you want to learn something, I think you're going to get exactly what you hope to get. And if you come and you bring a small cup, I believe that cup will be filled. If you bring a big cup, that cup will be filled. If you bring a gigantic cup, I think it'll be filled. And so I think come expecting really great things and, let us know what you want. Let us know what you need. Like, we're here to serve you. We want to invest in everyone that's there. So we're not taking this lightly. This is not sort of like show up. You're gonna, show up and you're gonna, sort of get rah rah, sort of, cheerleading. It's not that. It's we want to give you tools for you to be better in your business. And if that doesn't produce financial results for you, then something's wrong. But we think it will, and we believe in it, and I believe in it. You believe in it, and Steve believes in it. So I just think come with a sense of expectation and anticipation. And if you're hungry, you will be fed. That's the way that this thing works. It's really hard to motivate unmotivated people, but if you come motivated, you're going to get a ton and then some out of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary. I would say to you guys, if you're thinking about it, come invest in yourself. I mean, we give and give and give, and everybody's always showing up for everybody else in their life. It's okay to call a timeout and say, I'm gonna go and join Bob, Gary, and Steve for a day, 8 to 5 on a Saturday, and pour into myself and level up, whether it's in life or in business. We're putting the right people in the room. We've got people coming from all over the country. So there's going to be some players here, people here that are doing some high level things in business and in life. So it's a great room to be in. It's a great lobby to be in, and to meet some people. And as Gary says, rub shoulders, rub elbows with some people that maybe are already in a place that you would like to go.
And remember, relationships are the elevator.
Relationships are the elevator. I love that. I appreciate it. I'm stealing it. And I'll credit you though.
Go for it. Go for it.
But dude, I appreciate it. I appreciate being able to call you a friend. I'm flattered that you come into the great state of Maine. And guys, if you need any information more about this after these podcasts I've been doing with Steve and with Gary to let you know just exactly what you can expect on Saturday, February 22nd, DM me. shoot me a call, whatever, smoke signal. Let me know. Happy to get on the phone with you and talk more about this great event that's coming up on February 26th. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to having you.
Me too. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.